Jumping from the small screen to the big screen has turned out to be quite a challenge for many TV shows in the past, and now BBC crime drama Luther has made its own jump with a limited cinema release as well as its release on Netflix. Until very recently, I'd never watched an episode of Luther before, but in the last couple of weeks I've binge watched the whole series in lead up to the film, and I've got to say, first of all, it definitely works well in that binge format because it was very addicting, especially those first three series. Series 4 and Series 5 I think do falter a bit, and you can definitely feel the absence of certain key characters. And so with this film here, Luther the Fallen Son, it would be beneficial if you have watched the series beforehand, but at the same time, the filmmakers and Idris Elba both said that they wanted to make this film with the intention that someone new can just jump into it. And I think this film can work for both past and new audiences, but at the same time it does have that baggage, and I think it does weigh down the film a bit. But we've seen that with other TV shows when they cross over into films, that it takes them a bit of time to find their feet before it really gets going, and then by the time it gets going, the film's about to finish. And by the end of the film, it's clear they have ambition to make more, and I think with any potential sequel, it will benefit from this first film being there as a bridge. Because, for example, the best film I've seen recently based from a TV show is actually an anime called Demon Slayer. And it works well because it takes place within an ongoing story, but at the same time it does mean that you are going to alienate those new viewers, and so that I don't think this option would have been great for Luther to take on, because the intention here seems is that they want to make this a film franchise and expand it worldwide. Anyway, getting back on course to the film at hand, Luther the Fallen Son I think is a bit more than just a bridge film, but not by much. Idris Elba as John Luther is by no surprise the best thing about this film, but here more than any other time he really has to do so much of the heavy lifting. And he's certainly not helped by the story, which does come across as one where it's unsure what direction it wants to take, especially when it comes to the villain who's played by Andy Serkis, where by the end of the film I felt like Mr. Blobby was going to turn up because it's just so out there and so wild. In the show there was plenty of criminals who went to extreme and dark lengths. I mean, London was basically Gotham in Luther, and with that it was quite contained. You know, you'll see one, maybe two man operations, and you see it all unfold as well, whereas with the film and Andy Serkis' character, it does feel like what actually does go down would require a lot more work and a lot more people involved than just him, and so with that it makes you struggle to really get on board with what's actually happening. And by the end of it, this character will only be remembered as a wannabe Bond villain really, and in terms of Bond, it definitely wanted a piece of that with a scene in Piccadilly Circus which was very Skyfall-esque, where we have a London Underground chase, but it didn't get anywhere near the execution required to be on that level. And fair play if they plan to nail that down in future films, but with Idris Elba he's always been linked to that James Bond role, but he's got a great character here in John Luther, why not progress with him? And like I said earlier, London does remind me of Gotham, and Luther as a whole reminds me of Batman, because we have those characters like Gordon, we have a Robin character, we even have a bloody Joker character as well.
John.
Luther.
And who is John Luther?
My friend.
Even though I thought newcomers like Cynthia Erivo did okay, Luther the Fallen Son really could have used some cards up its sleeve. So I think overall fans of Luther should check this out to see where the story and the characters are going, but at the same time don't build those hopes up too much, because if you do convert this film into 2 episodes for example, that'd easily be the worst of the series. For those who haven't watched Luther, I'd say don't bother starting your Luther experience here, and instead go and watch the show because that's fantastic, and then come and watch this later on if you want to. But I'd say overall it's left me disappointed, but I am cautiously optimistic for what's to come. But do you disagree? Do you think Luther's big screen debut was better than what I've been saying here? If so, let me know down below. And if you fancy another video on a BBC drama, on screen right now is our review for Happy Valley.